I have not played much 25NL on stream recently, so I thought we could do one today. And so I have fired up these two 25NL tables on Pokerstars Zoom, and let's get going with them. I just had an interesting pot there, which if we have time, we might be able to look at it. I just fired up these two tables, and then I already had a good hand before I hit the record button, and it was this one here where I had ace deuce suited, but see, we are involved here, so well, we're gonna look back at that one later. Here I called king 5 offsuit just because it he only made it 2x from the small blind, and he's clearly not the greatest player. So now he check called the flop, and then he donked the turn small. I think even though I have king high, I can probably fold here on the right. I'm now value betting my king after I checked twice. And let's see, I'm curious what he called me with. He had 8-6 suited, I think. Yes, okay, so he rivered a pair. But yes, so I wanted to have a look at the ace deuce hand. That was on this table. So yeah, it was this one. So I opened ace deuce, and this guy in the small blind, who has an extremely tight range, was 3-betting, and I said extremely tight range because he was a 9-9, and then he 3-bet me really small though, and then I called, and then I called his flop c-bet when I had the deuce, and then he made it really big on the turn, and then I made an exploitative fold there. Even though I had a gut shot, I had bottom pair, but I think against that sort of aggression from such a player who is super tight, was a 9-9, I do think that that is indeed the way to go. Here we can check raise. I'm actually gonna make this a bit bigger with our second nut. And unfortunately, we get a fold there. So while I was talking about the other hand, maybe you witnessed me open queen 6 offsuit in the small blind, which is normally quite a bit below my threshold for opening. However, I did it because the guy in the big blind seemed to be on the nittier side, and also I have heard that players underdefend their big blinds against a small blind raise, which is why I chose to open, but then we got 3-bet and obviously we had to fold. Here on the right I opened ace king, got a call, and okay, sorry, just need to see bet this one. Gonna call with the ace king once. Now the 10 pairs. We could donk this one, but I think I'm going to just check. And he continues betting. I think I still have a call here, even though it's getting thin. And look at this beautiful flop here on the left, but unfortunately we just get folds. Right, so at this point the half-point bet, I mean this is under bluffed, but he is a little bit of an aggressive player and we gave him lots of ropes. So I think this is close, but I am going to look him up, and he did indeed have absolutely nothing. 6 high, he triple barreled with 6 high. I mean, not that triple barreling with 6 high is a problem, but I'm surprised to see that he triple barreled, because he seemed okay. Now it's a different story with ace king. Was a multi-way pot. This player bets 2/3, so this is why I'm out. But this one was actually an interesting one that we won in the end. So this guy had an open-ended straight draw, which is fine to barrel, and I guess it's fine. He didn't block the flush either, but then again, if I had had a flush draw, it's quite likely that I would have check raised or bet at some point. But I don't hate his line, except that on the river he made it quite small. He only made it half pot, and I think if he knows that I know that this line is under bluff, then maybe it's okay. But then again, we gave him rope. He did not filter at all post flop. So we checked the flop, and then he went bet, bet, bet on all three streets. Okay, now I have to concentrate a bit here. I have two interesting hands. Going to range bet the 3-7-7. I'm not worried about him having a 7. Well, in fact, we just get a fold, and with the pocket kings, we also get a fold. Right, now it's us who has 5-6 suited in the big blind, and I could raise. I'm happy to just call now with this hand, but unfortunately the flop is pretty terrible for us, and we have to just fold. Right, so back to this one, the ace-king hand. Okay, we are getting 3-bet, and we can go to 4-bet with this hand. Is not ideal, but we do get it through. So against the button 3-bet, who is quite aggressive and who has fairly high fold to 4-bet stats, I thought this would be a good idea, and I think this is also a good idea to 3-bet ace-king suited in the small blind, getting another fold. This is excellent. Working on our red line, not folding to aggression, but being aggressive ourselves. This is how you keep the red line high. So yeah, back to this one. We did not filter him at all, so he could still have anything here, and the triple barrel is unusual, yes, but on the other hand, I still think that it is okay to call there, and as we saw, it was. Right, here I open pocket sixes. He made it huge, so this is definitely a fold then with pocket sixes. He might have been bluffing there, so he has about a 20% 3-bet percentage, but I still think it is a fold there. Right, now we have Jack 9 offsuit, and because he made it fairly small, only 2.44, I'm going to 3-bet this hand. Big blind versus small blind. And here I'm going to call. No, I'm not going to 3-bet because it doesn't start the hand with a full stack. But again, this flop is terrible for us. Not even a backdoor flush draw, only a backdoor straight draw. He bets half pot. Nothing for me to do. I clearly have to fold in this spot. Okay, king 5 offsuit. Well, definitely not calling with it. Okay, so if you have any questions about opening ranges or so, just ask me. Sometimes I might do stuff automatically and then forget to explain why I did that. So Queen Jack suited is definitely good enough to 3-bet on the button against early position, and we get cold called by the small blind. And now I wouldn't be surprised to see a 4-bet by the under the gun player with this dead money from the small blind. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. He's making it 3 times my raise. I just don't want to continue here. Queen Jack might be dominated, and even if not, I don't think this is really that great. So I am going to fold, but I want to watch the continuation of the hand. Ooh, look at this, aces versus sevens. Okay, Queen Jack was pretty good. Here with bottom pair, I'm just going over a bluff catching mission. Not only bottom pair, but we also have the nut flush draw, and he keeps barreling. And now the flush comes in. We're gonna give him another chance to bet, but unfortunately he checks. Okay, I thought the way he was betting that he didn't have much, but yeah, maybe it was a bit optimistic. He actually double barreled there with interesting, double barreled with middle pair, and unfortunately, right, we didn't get any money out of him on the river. Right, so here we have another cold caller. And we have this guy, so I'm going to just check here. I'm doing this thing again with 8-4 offsuit against this tight player who just doesn't defend enough. And I want to watch it here on the right, what's happening with these guys. So he cold called a 3-bet. So if you see me tagging someone red, that usually means they did something that a good reg wouldn't do, which is often cold calling a 3-bet or cold calling even like a normal bet pre-flop, because those are things that regs don't do. And then I have the purple tag, and that is when I'm convinced that someone is a recreational player, a weak player, because they usually limp in. Okay, so this guy cold 3-bet, 3-bet with 10-10, which is pretty much exactly the type of range I would assign someone. Right, this player is quite aggressive, so I am going to check here. And he checks again. And here we're going to check. Now we have top pair, and I think we do have to go for value. Right, so here he didn't c-bet, but okay, he might not have the ace. Is there any merit in turning this into a bluff? I don't think so. I think this player might be fit or fold. And now he does bet the river. I think I just have to fold. If he wanted to bluff, he would have done it on an earlier street. Now it's not impossible that he's got a bluff, but I don't think we're ever good. So I could have gone there for an overbet myself, but I did not. So, okay, so here this guy he's getting the purple tag straight away because he just open limped. King Jack suited. Nice hand to open on the button. And now no reason to c-bet, but a reason to open here with pocket kings. And no reason to c-bet with our second pair. And here we are definitely going to 4-bet the pocket kings. He now overbets this. Interesting. Call, and we're definitely calling this, and we are up against jacks. That is very nice. And now when the flush comes in, this is not ideal for us, obviously. And if he had a draw, then was most likely the flush draw that he overbet with. He got there now. I mean, on the other hand, we did not filter, and he kind of knows that we don't have the flush because we would probably have c-bet that on the flop, but he didn't overbet here. I am going to fold. And it's a close one. It's not that I'm saying that this is always a value hand. It might well just be a bluff because we didn't filter. It was big blind against button, but just the way he bet that made me think that he didn't bluff, because he overbet on the turn and then went 3/4 on the river. It just kind of sounds like he had the flush draw, because, and then the flush obviously on the river if he had a flush draw before. So I think that's fine. I folded there, and now I'm going to 3-bet from the big blind against the hijack. So these suited connectors are quite good hands to 3-bet in the big blind, even against early position opens, because they do play quite well even if you get called by a hand like jacks or tens or so. They have quite a bit of playability, and that's why I quite like doing that. Here I would have potentially considered raising ace-9 off, 3-betting I mean, but not against the 4x open on the button. And we're getting 3-bet by a fairly aggressive 3-better, but I still think king 8 suited is just a fold. Okay, ace queen off, no action. King deuce off, not a defend. King 10 off would be the weakest hand I would consider defending there against that raise size from the cutoff. Yeah, so the one mistake that I see a lot of small stakes players make is that they defend a bit too wide in the big blind, even if they're decent players in general, but they just lose too much money by making that mistake by calling too wide. Okay, here we are getting 3-bet again by a recreational player, and no reason to stick around. We're not deep enough either. Definitely going to fold, even though queen 10 suited is quite the pretty hand. So king 9 off is not a defend here again on the right table. Queen jack suited in the big blind, that's a nice hand. That's a hand we can 3-bet with or call. I am going to fold jack 8 suited. Okay, sadly, we have this scenario here where we had the raise and a 3-bet, so I will now have to fold my queen jack suited. And look at this flop. Ace king king, so I'm just watching the hand because I want to see what's happening there. Okay, ace 7 4. I am going to check this one behind. It's not a range bet. If he checks again, now I will go for the overbet with my open-ender. If he bets, I will call. He does bet. I am just going to call this one. And now we have picked up some showdown value. What did you say? He checked raise with absolute air, this guy. Okay, he doesn't go too big. He could have a missed flush draw. We didn't filter at all. So at this point, we're getting better than 2-1. We have to be good around 30% of the time, maybe not even quite. So I am happy to just call him. And he did have the ace there. Okay. It's interesting with ace 9 that you went for 2 barrels there. But fair enough. Okay, here I normally don't really like opening 9-8 suited from under the gun, but because I saw there is a non-crusher in the big blind, I figured that it would be a better open than average, and we just got folds all around. Yeah, so I did lose when I called there with my rivered 8 against his ace 9, but as I said, there were a few things why I thought that he could have a bluff there. Okay, king jack is not a hand that I'm very proud of, but I am going to 3-bet this one. Firstly because I have a blocker, and secondly because I don't like to play this hand as monkey in the middle by calling, and I didn't really want to fold either. So what can I do then? By the process of elimination, I will just 3-bet, and we got it through. Yes, so, okay, sorry, just need to concentrate again here. We have an open-ender. Oh, and this guy now shoves. Okay, well, this is very annoying. I will obviously have to fold even though I have an open-ender, but I'm not getting the right price. And here I'm just checking my pocket tens. Yes, I could have bet there, but I think I am okay. Here I am going to call. And now when he bets pot there, here on the right, starting with a range check. When he bets pot, I think I'm out. Like, yes, I beat a complete bluff, which is possible that he has that, but because he makes it so big. Sorry, I need to check this one. Wasn't concentrating. Okay, I'm just gonna fold this one. Okay, so here on the right, we're obviously going for a check call with our top pair, which is quite low. I could have bet myself actually on this turn. And now the king, there is just not that much that I can get value from. That is the problem. Like fives and sixes maybe, but and threes potentially. And now I'm just going to call here because again we've given him rope. He's not done anything. So he did river the king. So unfortunately, yeah, again a bluff catching exercise that went wrong. But my thing with bluff catching is if we don't filter their range at all, which means that we don't bet post flop and they just get to keep their entire range that they have on the flop, then I am happy to bluff catch against them. Okay, here I am going to 3-bet this hand. Ace-9 off is not great, but we have position. We have the ace blocker, and, well, we do have an ace in case an ace comes. Jack-9 suited. This is close, but I'm going to fold now. I will sometimes open it, but in high-rake games I prefer to fold. Oh, what are we doing anyway? We're up $19, but I think most of it is due to the kings versus jacks hand earlier, where we got it all in pre-flop. Or I think in some ways Villain might have overplayed his jacks. If you remember, I had kings on the button and he had jacks in the big blind. And yes, you are meant to go all in to play for all your money in that late configuration with jacks, but at these stakes I'm not sure that is the right thing to do. Definitely not at lower stakes. 25 NL might be okay, but it depends a bit on the opponent, because like what would I 4-bet there and then fold or call that's worse than his jacks? Here I have to fold my jack 10 off. So yeah, but I think it's close. In GTO territory, it's definitely not a mistake to fold. To call, sorry, to go all in with jacks. So here I just c-bet this on a7-6. I c-bet small, knowing that of course he can have an ace, but he can also have other hands that he will call once with, and then we can just check the turn and then see what he does on the river. Okay, Jack 4 is an interesting one on Queen Queen 3. And we have Jack 4 on the right as well. We have to fold. So this was not a range bet, but I am very happy to triple. Actually, am I happy to triple barrel this? No, I'm not. I was gonna say, but if he is a good player, which I don't know if he is, but now I've chickened out and I will have to fold. But the thing is, the triple barrel, it's very easy to overdo triple barrels in the small blind. Okay, now I'm going to just make this one quite big here, isolating, even though I don't have a great hand, but I'm up against a player who is not amazing. This board unfortunately hits his range a lot, and he now donks for half pot. We have a gut shot. I am going to call. And now that he checks, I'm going to bet this quite big. And here I'm going to just call with my flush draw. Ugh, and unfortunately we're getting jammed on. Okay, yeah, this was not great. Okay, so here we can go with the 2/3 pot bet. And unfortunately he calls, and also unfortunately we have queen high, and we block his folds, his auto folds. And I will have to, unfortunately, check and lose. Oh, he turned the jack. Okay, so he didn't actually have anything on the flop. He was behind my queen high. And then he rivered the jack. And maybe you could have gotten him off that, but whatever. But yeah, so if you open the small blind against the big blind, you are very... Oof, look at this. Look at this on both tables now, right. So this guy 3-bet, this guy called. I have to go all in now for just over, well, it's 120. That is not, absolutely not ideal. And this guy does the same thing again. But I will have to call with my queens. Okay, so let's now play this more passively. And we could actually be good with king high, but he did have the 10. Right, so this is a tiny bet here, which we're going to call, although, yeah, this is what I feared, and he called as well, and I think now I'm out. I wasted the 5 big blinds. I don't think I played this hand very well, but... Okay, maybe I did fold the best hand. If he doesn't bet. And look at this, I did fold the best hand. Oh my goodness. I did not expect that with this action. And queen 9 and jack 10, and both of them offsuit, and I folded my pocket queens. This is insane. This is annoying. I mean, these players are really, really bad. But, I mean, who am I to judge if I fold my pocket queens to that sort of action? So, but the thing was, I mean, this guy called 4-bet, then this guy called the 4-bet after raising small initially. Okay, so here I am going to just check my overpair with the clubs. And now we're going to call. And let's see what he does on the river. He checks, so I'm definitely going for value now. I'm going for not too much value, but I can get called by a jack or a queen. But yeah, I mean, this one really hurts to have folded it. But with that sort of action, I just honestly did not expect them to show up with such terrible hands there. And I just figured I must be dead with the king there. Okay, so we 3-bet this one, and we are gonna go for a range bet, which I know in GTO terms this is not really a thing. I would only have big bets or checks on this board, but I prefer to have some sort of a... Okay, so here we can still get called by weaker hands, but he folds. Okay, this is now a terrible run out for our middle pair. So I'm just taking my showdown value. And can we get called by anything worse? I don't really think so. I mean, maybe you would call hand like pocket fours without a diamond, but I didn't really think so. So he had ace high. Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to forget that hand with the pocket queens, where it's just I still can't believe that the guy cold 4-bet with queen 9 offsuit. Okay, we have 8 deuce, and we get a walk. Okay, these are both fine hands to play, although once he raises I will just fold my 5-6 suited. We are still, well, we're still winning, but just about. I mean, it was that one hand that really messed it up for me. With the queens, I feel sad about it. I kind of butchered it. Okay, so here we can now go for an overbet. And here we have to fold our deuces. Here, unfortunately, we do get a fold as well. Okay, here another one that I'm opening, although the hand is not really great. And this is one where I have to start with a check. When he bets half pot, he could have anything, definitely floating here, considered going even bigger, but now I'm going to donk here once I make the straight, because I think it's quite likely that he will check behind. But look at this. I mean, I'm losing to 7-8, and now I'm losing to 8, so to an 8, which is like really annoying. And we are chopping, so we basically had the same hand anyway, which I thought when he raised there. I didn't think he had a bluff, although sometimes you can induce bluffs there by donking, which is quite nice. Right, so I opened king jack suited. He made it more than 3 times, almost 4 times my raise. So normally it's kind of borderline, but because he made it so big, I opt to fold. So it's borderline call. I mean, it's pretty much 0 EV as far as I know. Okay, ace queen. This is a hand we can definitely play. If Derek decides what he wants to do. Yeah, finally folding. We are raising, and this is a short stacker. So we do have the ace of clubs, but I am happy in this case because he's so short stacked to just check. And I think now I do want to go for the delayed c-bet because it does call, and now we beat all sorts of draws. We don't beat other pairs, but I don't know if I can get him to fold anyway. So I'm just going to check this and hope to win. But yeah, he did even have the king there. So again, he turned a king. So we've lost quite a few pots here where villain just turned or rivered a pair. I just called with king 9, king 5 suited. He now c-bets, probably c-betting range, definitely calling there. Now with the queen, this is now a turn where I could donk on, but not with this hand. And I don't think I can really get much value if I bet, so I just prefer to let him bluff this one. But he didn't go for it. What did he have? He had ace-10, so yeah, I mean, maybe this is the one type of hand I was thinking a 10 might call if I block the river, but I thought it's much more likely that the button has just some random hands rather than that. Okay, so 5-6 off is a hand that I am now going to 3-bet just because he made it so small. And here I'm going to 3-bet ace-3 suited from the small blind, getting a call. Out of position, I prefer to start with a range check. Here we got it through. Okay, he did not go for the bet, so then we can go for the delayed c-bet, 2/3 here, and I'm going to go quite big here as well. Now I am going to, well, you know what, I'm going to shove this one now, because I just don't think he has a big hand. Oh, but he did call because he had the jack. Okay, so this is exactly the type of hand that's the only thing that I expect him to call there. Okay, here we have another cold caller. And this guy is quite short stacked, which is why I don't want to go bigger. But yeah, so here we lost a lot in that hand because we got called by a jack. And here we unfortunately have to fold our ace-queen. So the reason why I jammed here was because when he doesn't bet the flop, I don't think he has a flush draw necessarily, so it's quite unlikely. And then he did call my bet on the turn, but this could be anything. It could be a queen, it could be a jack, it could be pocket 10s, 9s, 8s, 6s, 5s. He will not fold to just one bet there. And on the river, I think queen never calls. 10s, 9s, 8s, 6s, 5s, all of those hands will fold to my shove. And I don't think that he has a lot of spades. So the only hand that he will probably call is a jack, although I even think that there's at least a 10% chance that he will fold some of his jacks as well. And because of that, I went for it, because it's plausible that I start with a range check if I have a flush draw, and then bet even with pocket queens or pocket jacks with that one combo. So that's I still think it was actually a good shove there. But unfortunately, he did not fold. So after a really good start to the session, we are now heavily in the red, but this is how it goes. Right, so here we are going to just go all in for, actually, let's do the 6 big blinds. With ace high, I'm happy to get it in. Well, he has ace king, okay. Yeah, but still, I think it's fine. For 7 big blinds, I'm okay to go all in with ace 9. He limps there with a lot more than ace king, I guess. So I do not mind this one, this baby shove. But yeah, at the moment, not going too well. 10-8 off. I mean, I am going to call against this player, but I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't c-bet a lot. And now I am going to go for the overbet, even though I'm aware that the ace hits his range. But I have both a flush draw and a straight draw. And yep, we did get him to fold, which is excellent. And now we have pocket aces. Let's see if we can continue with everyone folding, but no, it's now I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to. Oops, sorry, not 29, just 20. I did not mean to fold ace 10 offsuit under the gun. I just misclicked there. Okay, well, we are now getting. I mean, should I just jam? But I think if you 5 bets there, he will have a hand that he will go with either way. Let's just call and probably get it in here. Like, yeah, whatever. Okay, well, aces versus aces, excellent. And here we have to call with our pocket nines, and this is quite annoying, aces versus aces, but it does happen. And this guy now c-bets small, definitely calling with my nines. Let's see, if he checks, I think we have a good chance. I'm just going to go for something like this. This is just under half pot. And now, I mean, if he has ace king, yes, he might call another bet, but I think it's getting too thin because he also has jacks and tens in his range, and he will not fold them, so I can't turn this into a bluff, which means I have to check and hope that he has ace king, and he has king queen even. Okay, well, sadly, he owned us in this hand. Ace 8 suited, opening from under the gun. Yeah, so let's see. We are down $33. Wow. We were up around $20 at some point. But this is how it goes. I made that one mistake there. And then I made that all-in bluff that went wrong. But as I said, I still think that it was the right thing to do there. It was a calculated bluff. And he just happened to have the one tiny portion of his range that called my shove. Okay, we're getting aces and kings left and right. What we haven't had that is kings running into aces. So here on the right, I'm definitely going to fold king 8. Here on the left, I'm definitely going to 4-bet pocket kings. So let's see if we can make this kings versus aces. He does call. And it's not great for me, but I am still going to c-bet this, and we've got less than an SPR of 2. Okay, this guy 3-bet on the button, but still I will just have to fold. And now we have, so we're not afraid of the diamonds. I am going to check this one, and now we have the second nuts. Let's see what he does. I would like to get all my money in with the second nut. If he has queen of diamonds or a 10 of diamonds, he might bet, so he might call, so he blocks there, and there's nothing for me to do than to jam. I'm going to take a little bit of time. Also, I want to see what I have in terms of info about him. I mean, he definitely has the ace of diamonds in his range, but I will still jam here because I do think that I can get called by the queen of diamonds or even a 10 of diamonds that doesn't believe me, potentially even set, but he folded in the end. Jack 10, nice hand to open under the gun. And we are getting squeezed by a fairly loose player, fairly aggressive as well. And he doesn't squeeze for a huge size, so is this ever profitable? I think because we have this other player it is profitable, but unfortunately he folded and now we're heads up, but we do have, well, now we even have straight, so we currently hold the nuts, and I am going to bet this one. Hopefully he will raise, but no, he just folds. Okay. And we got Jack-10 suited again, this time on the button. We are getting 3-bet once again, this time by the small blind. It's a fairly small 3-bet as well. And I can go either way, but because he makes it so small, I decide to call this time. And when he c-bets small here, I basically have an easy fold, but he makes it so small that I'm going to call. And he now just keeps barreling quite big, so at this point I definitely have to fold. You could argue that I should have folded on the flop when he makes it 4 into 16, quarter pot bet. But I don't think he had an ace, that's the thing, but I don't want to risk my entire stack there with Jack high. Okay, let's make this our last orbit. And oh, now we look at all of this here now. Right, so this guy cold called, and with that said, I am going to continue, which I wasn't planning, but now I am going to continue against these two players. And when they all check to me, I'm thinking of betting, but I think they can still have big hands. Okay, now this is unfortunately a very big bet, almost pot. I mean, he only has 2 of those behind, so I will have to fold my 9s here. Also, as a cold caller, this hits his range quite well. Right, what we have here, ace high, could still be good sometimes. And it is not, because he has pocket 5s. Okay, last couple of hands or so. Let's just, okay, a7 suited, one more hand, and then we'll check how badly we have done today. Getting 3-bet to 3 big blinds. Right, so there is, you can do either. I am going to just try to raise this. I don't think this was very strong, and it wasn't indeed, so we just got it through. King 10 off. I won't open this one, and we're done. Let's see how we have been doing today. So as I said, not very well, really not great here, but it was down to those 2 hands, as I said earlier, and next time hopefully we can avoid folding the best hand, like when we have pocket queens. Thanks for watching. Bye.